The film opens in a Mexican city, where Scratch Wrath and Maria Slope have shown up to explore the region after a detailed twister with a face had torn through the city. Minutes after the fact, the two experience a being known as a natural, explicitly the one that can control Earth. Fierceness and Maria are met by a man in a super-controlled suit named Quentin Beck, and he helps the two battle the Earth Basic, sliced to Midtown School of Science and Innovation where Betty Brant and Jason Ionello are doing their day-to-day school news report. However, they start with an in memoriam committed to Tony Obvious, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, and Vision. Betty recaps the occasions of the snap, with numerous understudies having been tidied away prior to getting back to life and finding that a portion of their more youthful schoolmates have now outperformed them genuinely. Peter Parker examines with Ned leads his arrangements to prevail upon MJ, on whom he has fostered a smash. They are preparing for a class excursion to Europe, and Peter trusts that he can tell her how he feels. Peter later goes to a pledge drive as Bugman, with Auntie May there to help. They are met by blissful Hogan, who has all the earmarks of being playing with May. He surrenders Peter a heads that Rage will call him, which he does quickly. However, Peter overlooks him since he has different things to stress over. He returns outside as Spidey to converse with correspondents, yet they overpower him with inquiries regarding turning into the new Iron Man or the following lead Vindicator, so he leaves. The class later heads out for the excursion, with Peter deciding to leave the Spidey suit behind to partake in his getaway. However, he later finds that May pressed it for him at any rate. They are escorted by Mr. Harrington and Mr. Dell, and are joined by different understudies, including Street Thompson. They stay in a messy lodging, yet they find opportunity to partake in the sights, while Peter attempts to draw nearer to MJ. Out of nowhere, the water levels on the ground begin rising. Before long, a huge water basic starts to unleash devastation upon the city, utilizing water to flood the city or obliterate structures. Peter attempts to take care of business, yet he left his Spidey suit at the inn. Beck shows up and utilizes his powers to battle the water essential. He can stifle the animal's assaults before eventually parting the animal in two. He is viewed as a legend by Peter's cohorts, and in the wake of watching a news report on him, they begin to refer to him as Mysterio. Peter and Ned return to their room, however Ned gets sedated by Wrath. He has been attempting to certainly stand out, and it hasn't worked as of not long ago. Rage takes Peter to his mysterious safe house to meet Maria and Beck. Beck makes sense of that he is from another Earth, which is where the elementals are coming from. This was probably brought about by the snap, and Beck asserts that the fire basic was the one that annihilated his home world and his loved ones. Rage needs Peter's assistance in retaliating, however he believes he isn't the Vindicator that is able to battle creatures like these. Fierceness seizes the class excursion by having his worker, Dimitri, Newman a car, go about as a driver to their new and unforeseen objective, Prague, as Wrath and Beck have discovered that is where the fire natural is set to strike. Prior to taking off, Peter is taken by a tall lady sent by Wrath to give him a covertness suit. She arranges him to remove his garments and put it on, however he is found by Brad, who takes a pic of Peter in what resembles a compromising position. In the wake of showing up in Prague, Mr. Harrington lets the understudies know that they were given passes to the drama, which ruins their arrangements to go to the festival. However, it was arranged by Rage to keep Peter's companions inside to try not to be trapped in that frame of mind of the fire essential. Peter is compelled to remain outside and be keeping watch, which ruins his arrangement to sit close to MJ. She follows him outside, and Ned and Betty understand since they think the other two are set out toward the amusement park. Outside, the fire natural arises and starts to frenzy. Spidey and Mysterio collaborate against the monster, attempting to try not to allow it to contact metal, or, in all likelihood it will get all the more impressive. Ned and Betty are caught on the Ferris wheel as Spidey attempts to save them, while Mysterio battles the fire natural. Spidey fires a web at the monster, which hauls something out of it and makes it land close to a secret MJ. Mysterio then utilizes his powers to plunge into the fire essential's chest and obliterate it. Peter goes down to ensure he is okay. Peter secretly meets with Beck, and Peter feels that Beck is the one that genuinely merits Edith, since he thinks Tony just passed on it for him to pick who truly deserves succeeding Iron Man. After Peter leaves, Beck brings down what has been an entire deception in a decrepit structure. Everybody there works for him, and they are undeniably displeased previous representatives of unmistakable enterprises. Beck has been making up the elementals to get individuals to see him as the legend, utilizing robots to make the annihilation abandoned by their appearances. He and everybody there have been pissed at Tony for taking their work, his double increased retro outlining, and they have all cooperated to get individuals to disregard Iron Man or Bugman, and to clear a path for Mysterio. Peter returns to the lodging to welcome MJ to go out with him without any other individual. As he attempts to tell her how he feels, she removes him to uncover she knows he's Bugman, due to the many, fortuitous events, including them being in similar spots simultaneously. Then, at that point, takes out what she found at the site of the fire basic battle, a projector that shows Mysterio battling the at this point inconspicuous Air Essential. The two understand that Beck is behind the elementals and that he is a fake. As Beck and his hooligans plan for the Air Natural, Justice Fighters level assault, they observe that the missing projector from one of their robots is in Peter's grasp. Peter goes to meet with Wrath and Maria about Beck's actual thought processes, however it turns out Beck has up to speed to Peter first and has made a whole deception to trap him in. He insults Peter for not being the legend he needs to be, and even powers him to get through a projection of Tony erupting from his grave and emerging to threaten him. It seems like Rage curbs Beck and asks Peter who else he told about Beck, and he concedes that he told MJ, Ned, and that Ned presumably told Betty. This ends up being another of Beck's stunts, and presently he knows to kill Peter's companions. He likewise places Peter in the way of a train, which seems to strike him. However, Peter is simply harmed downright terrible, and he drops on the train. Peter awakens in a prison cell in the Netherlands. Subsequent to breaking out, he calls Glad to come get him. While Cheerful watches out for his injuries, Peter separates and says that he doesn't get why Tony would pick him as a replacement when he continues botching everything. Peter gets himself and goes to make himself another suit from Tony's PC before they head to London to save his companions. The class is taking a visit transport ride around London, however it's driven by one of Beck's hooligans. They stop on the London extension as Mysterio prepares the air basic to assault. Spidey appears in another suit for the fight to come. Cheerful goes to get Ned, MJ, Betty, and Streak, yet his stream gets exploded and they need to conceal in a middle-aged tower as the robots pursue them. Conceal in a room, however MJ figures out how to thump down a robot with a mace prior to remaining secured in a room. Spidey enters the deception of the air natural and networks every one of the robots together to inspire them to crash and break the deception. He continues to obliterate more robots before Mysterio has him cornered and faces a crowd of robots coordinated at him while under a deception. Utilizing his bug sense, Spidey evades every one of the robots, annihilates them all, and in the tumult, one of them shoots Mysterio. Peter goes to get Edith, yet Beck endeavors one final deception to kill him, and it falls flat, passing on Beck to kick the bucket in shame. Peter then cripples every one of the robots. A while later, he and MJ run onto the scaffold to meet with one another. They recognize their shared sentiments, and they kiss. Rage attempts to get Peter once more, however Blissful advises him to let the youngster be since he's with Greetings.